OSU's urban horticulture production students are experimenting in our gardens here with low tunnels this semester. Low tunnels are sometimes called quick hoops, and they're essentially a miniature greenhouse. And these are used to start crops earlier in the season, grow them later in the winter. We can also get some of our heat-loving crops off to an earlier start. We can use low tunnels with fruits, vegetables, herbs, and cut flowers. Today, joining me is Dr. Lynn Brandenberger. We're going to look at some different materials that we use in our hoop structures. So let's start with the support. We have a few different options.
Yeah, this is a galvanized electrical conduit, and it's 1/2 inch, and we've bent it into a hoop, and it works real nice. It's something that will last a long time. It doesn't break down from sunlight or anything like that. So if you had a set of these for your own home garden, you could probably expect at least 10 to 15 years of use out of them.
Now, another product we can use is PVC, but this is a little less expensive than the conduit, but it will break down over time in the sun, right?
Right, and the nice thing about this system is this is actually a piece of rebar from concrete, and then we don't have to bend the hoop. All we have to do is put the rebars down and then just slip it over it and push it down, and
we just bend it over those supports and it holds its shape. So a little less prep work in that system.
You don't have to have a bender.
Right. You also have another example of materials here for a lower tunnel.
This is about a number 9 or 8 galvanized wire, and commercially this is what's used a lot because, as you can tell, the cost of this is going to be less than anything else we've looked at so far. Definitely gets you your very low tunnel, but we can grow a lot of greens under there. We could probably start small transplants of something that would get taller, but we'd only have like maybe 2 or 3 weeks that we could be under this low of a structure.
So some of our cold crops,
spinach, broccoli, cabbage, all that kind of stuff would do fine under this.
The taller hoop structures are good for starting maybe tomatoes or peppers early.
Warm season vegetables that you're going to start a little bit early. Now
we also have a variety of materials for our covering. So here we have plastic that we're using.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty high quality piece of plastic here. I know the guy that bought it, and it's like greenhouse grade, but that's not really necessary for a home garden. It will last a lot longer, but like at home, I just go to the hardware store and I buy some 6 mil clear plastic, and that's what I use. I usually get a couple of years of use out of it for my own home garden at home.
Okay, and this is good, again, if we're growing warm season vegetables, we definitely want the plastic. Some of our cool season vegetables, we could get away with a frost fabric or even the remain. We brought some of that over here. So this is a floating row cover, and this is actually pretty thick material.
These come in different grades, and this one here is one of the heaviest grades that they've got. This is a spun material, and it's usually made out of polyester.
Right.
It breathes, and that's the great thing about it later in the spring. A lot of times, if you have clear plastic, it gets very hot under there, and we can actually damage our crops. But the nice thing about this one is, if we start a little later, especially for warm season things, this will be adequate enough to protect it, but it breathes. Right. And that's a real advantage.
And we can use it early on for our cool season crops. It'll maintain the temperature 5 to 10 degrees, depending on how thick it is. Like I said, this is a nice thick one.
The other thing about this material is cost. It's more expensive than the clear plastic. So.
True. Now, if you do go with a lightweight row cover for your cool season vegetables, you can use that later for insect protection.
Oh yeah, it works really slick. They did some work down at Lynn on that, and it really has some great advantages.
Excellent. Well, thanks for looking at these materials with me.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.